So the title of this video is Life Situations Happen to Break You Out of the Ego and Surrender to Life. So I just did a Q&A actually recently, a couple of questions from someone, and it's kind of it led me to, I guess, organically speak about this topic. So life situations happen to break us out of the ego. Now, we often think, well, actually, first and foremost, I should say, we get stuck in our egoic mind and we think how life should be, how we should be. It's like almost like an ice cube, or when you've you've molded like a clay pot or something, and it's now fixated into that that firm structure. So that is almost what I could define our ego as, what our mind as, and it thinks life should be this way, this fixated, in clay, or the ice cube analogy, is fixated like that. When in reality, life, and from a metaphysical perspective, a high perspective, it's free flowing. It changes constantly. It moves in and out, but we're only seeing it from our perspective, and we get fixated on that and stuck in that that mindset. And often we experience these life situations which we call suffering, or bad events, traumatic life situations, chaotic events. And I'm not saying they're great. I'm not saying everyone have these situations, have that experience. That I'm not saying it's a good thing, but from one perception, it is a good thing, because what actually life's trying to do is break us out of that fixated clay pot mindset and recognize that you need to go with the flow of life. Life may have a different vision for you, a different idea for you, a different path for you. But because you fixated yourself like that into the clay pot, you're unable to flow that with that wave of life. And I guess the ego is when it starts freaking out, because it holds onto that clay structure even more, and that's what's causing the suffering. Because in the Q&A, the question was one of the questions which I'm looking down here is, why is so much suffering, my whatever, why am I going through so much suffering, why is someone else going through so much suffering? But the only thing that's causing the suffering is you holding onto a rigid structure, because we don't know what life has in store, not what only for us, for other people, for grand scheme of things, and what way it's meant to go, but we think we do. And what life's actually trying to do, and it does this through a variety of ways. It can do it through an illness. It causes an illness to happen within you. It could cause people in your life to come in and cause chaos or do something bad. It can cause, another cause can be nature coming in, like, for example, a environmental situation, an earthquake, a tsunami, or something that causes your house to break down, and then because of that you have to move, for example, and go somewhere else. And the economy, you lose your job because of the economy crashing and stuff like that, then you have to go to get another job. But because we think we know the right way, we're unable to go down the path that is actually meant for us, for our destined path. And because we often fight against life, we then cause more suffering for ourselves. Because, say, for example, our path is, the path for us is up here, but we're going off this way. Life tries to bring us back into the middle so we can walk in that straight path again. But if we don't listen to it, we keep going off until you're so far away from the actual path you're meant to be going down, and that's what's causing the suffering. The suffering is there to almost push you back to the middle, so then you can go on the right path again. So think of the suffering as a way to break you out of... Think of it like a sat-nav, actually. Think of it like a sat-nav. You're going down the wrong road, the wrong path. You took the wrong turning. It's like a re-navigation back to the road you're meant to be going down. So that is, you can think of suffering like that. And once again, that the only reason the suffering gets worse and worse and worse, and say you have like a physical illness, like an incurable illness, is because you've gone so far down the wrong path that life may now have to say, okay, you've gone, the wrong way for so long now, I can't even get you back at this point. So it may just have to say, we've got to take you out this game, so to speak. We've got to take you out, which death can happen, or non-curable illness can happen, because you've gone so far now, it's just not worth it. So we're going to have to take you out, and then maybe you come back in another life or something to go down that path again. So another good example is, let's use a tangible example. Let's say you've got a resistance, you've got a and this one will be relatable to a lot of people, I'm sure, that come from sort of those I guess, more traditional cultures. Um, so let's say you've got a lot of pride. You're someone, your egoic structure is a lot of pride. This is your structure, the clay that I spoke about. Your family's full of pride. You're full of pride. Um, you don't, you don't take risks or do something, a bit fun, or do something silly because you've got a lot of pride. People can't think badly of me because I have pride. I've got reputation. Yes, look at me, pride. Oh, yes. And like I say, a lot of cultures have this. Middle Eastern cultures, quite a few cultures. It's more like Eastern cultures, like I said, less so in UK, but wherever you're from, it'll resonate to you if it's relevant. Anyway, say your culture's full of pride, because normally people are gossiping. There's normally a lot of judgments, and you've got to have a reputation. Yes, I'm rich. I have a good job, reputation. My family's perfect. All this nonsense. Pride. That's the common theme. You got your pride. You're full of pride. You don't make. You don't do stupid things. Someone in the family, you can't bring shame to the family. All this stuff. Okay, so you pride. You think you're the best. You think you're better. You think you're this amazing person. What life may actually do to break you out of that structure. Now, it's not doing it because it's saying you're an idiot, oh, you're a bad person. It's doing it because you're fixated. You're not going with the flow of life. You're like rock. You're like that clay thing. But life wants to flow. It wants to be like, going in and out, dancing. Going, trying new things, doing all this stuff. It's like an electric current. If there was a blockage in the electric wires, you wouldn't see the light. The light bulb would not work, maybe. But when the energy is flowing freely, the wires are working properly. You can see the light bulb. It's perfect. You get the light. You get your television. You get your internet. Whatever it may be. So that's what life's trying to do. It's trying to clear out those blockages and break you out of that rigid structure. So what it may do, going back to the situation of the pride, it will do little situations to start. Well, first it does whispers. It will first give you a subtle nudge or a little whisper. Whisper to start off with. To say, like, maybe you should not be as prideful. Maybe you should just lighten up a bit, have a bit of fun. And it could come up in a situation where you meet your friend, your family, they're having a joke, and you get a feeling like, I should maybe have a joke back, but no, too prideful. I won't do it this time. Okay, fair enough. Then it gets louder. Maybe it'll be a little, hello, come on. Not literally like that, but life will put you in a situation that's a bit more intense to get you to break out of that prideful situation. Maybe this time you're at a gathering and 2 or 3 people are like, joking around, but you still resist. No, I'm too prideful. No, whatever. And metaphorically, these signs get louder and louder. So it may be into a little nudge, a little push, a little slap, until it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, until you've got no choice but to break out of that pridefulness. And let's use a real life example again. I might be waffling a bit, but it makes sense in my head. So an extreme version, it could be you get a illness where you're not able to walk, you're not able to wipe yourself, you're not able to eat, you're stuck, you can't do anything. And that illness may mean that you now need to let's say you need to get a carer. Or you now, before maybe you used to wear pride, like the best clothes, Gucci clothes or fancy dress, you used to look smart all the time, hair perfect, you'd never go out of your head unless your hair's done up. You'd always look good, your makeup done, or I don't know, your beard trimmed if you're a guy, whatever it is. But now, because you've manifested this illness has manifested within you, I should say. You're now stuck. You can't feed yourself. You've got to care. Your hair's scruffy. Your makeup's not done. All this stuff, and you're thinking, this is awful. Oh, everyone's going to think bad of me. Oh, I'm in a wheelchair, and now I'm in Zimmer frame. All this stuff. I can't even go to the bathroom without people helping me. Oh, this is awful. It's awful. It's awful. But once again, that's the mind. That's the rigid structure claiming, because it's the mind saying, no, you should be this way. Because it thinks that's his identity. It's going, no, I should look this way. Oh, I look perfect. I should be, no one should see me like this. Shame, judgment, all this stuff. But that's just conditioning. Your family told you to do this way, and then everyone else around you said do this way. So that's just the conditioning that thinks it's what you should be. So that life situation is trying to break you out of that. And because you didn't listen to those signs early on, it's now put a situation in your life where you've literally got no choice now but to give up your pride. And if you don't, the suffering gets worse, the illness gets worse, or that situation gets worse, until you're literally sat there like this. You're unable to move. Maybe you're pissing yourself, you're shitting yourself. Maybe you can't even put your hand up to feed yourself like this, and someone's doing all that to you. Your hair's a scruff. You're literally in a wheelchair. You like that. You can't move. That's just an extreme example. But because you've not broken out of that prideful situation, that fixated mindset, life's gone, all right, we have to break out, we have to break this clay pot completely now to get out of that fixated egoic mind and to be in that place of surrender, so then the energy can just flow through you again. And because when you're in that state, when you go, I can't move, I can't feed myself, I can't do my mail, I can't do nothing, you've got no choice but to just go, I give up, fine, this is it. I just got to accept I look like shit. I can't move. I can't do anything. The pride, I don't even care about the pride anymore. Judge me, hate me. I can't do anything. Fine, whatever. And that's when finally that rigid structure is broken. But because you didn't listen to it early on, it resulted in that. If you listened to it early on, you'd be healthy, you'd be fine, no problem. But it's years and years and years and years and not listened to it. It's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger until life's gone, nah, this blockage is too big. We need to smash the pot, let it clean through. And if you don't listen to it, basically, it gets to the point where you get the incurable illness, something like that, and then you just die because life goes, this is just a waste. The blockage is so big, it's easier just to take you out of life. You'll have to come back, learn all the lessons again, all that. And who can be asked with that, let's face it? Learn all the same lessons again. Sod that. But life's just looking to do the least amount of resistance. So I know that was a long-winded answer for a question, but long story short, in summary, life will put you in situations to break you out of that thing that you are, that egoic structure that you've formed. And it can be different for everyone. Pride was just one example. There's loads of different, ways it can happen. But just know that suffering is because of you not letting go of a rigid structure, letting it flow through. You've not learnt your lessons. You've resisted, it's built up, and life's gone, okay, we need to break you out of this rigid way of thinking so the energy can flow through you and you can literally live in alignment with the path that I set for you. Maybe your path is that. Maybe your path is to go up and end up passing away, to experience that particular path, that route. We don't know. It's different for everyone. But yeah, life puts you in situations to break you out of them. And the resistance to it is what causes the suffering. And lastly, I have nothing else to say, so I'm going to end it here before I start waffling. Hope that made sense, and have a great week.